What's going on, Jerome's? Minnesota Vikings defense coordinator Brian Flores wants to play more press man this year after playing a lot of zone last season. So getting all up in the business of the wide receivers, belt buckle across the board, and then let's go hunt. All right, so it could be an overhaul on defense. And one of the most interesting names and press man coverage savants is Khyree Jackson, the University of Oregon, formerly Alabama. He's one of the weirdest evaluations out there, and he's seen largely as a day 2 pick. Now the Vikings don't have a day 2 selection, but of course they can maneuver down or maneuver up, whatever way they want. And there's a lot of room to grow there. There's a lot of physical traits that are certainly appealing, and the Vikings are indeed setting up a top 30 visit with Khyree Jackson. And like we said, I do think that Khyree Jackson is extremely interesting, but there are some pluses, there are some minuses here. So number one, he has had the most interesting journey to primetime college football and the NFL draft out there, right? So he graduated high school in 2016. He is 24. He's going to be 25 in August, so he's literally going to be 25 years old before he plays an NFL down. And so that's going to be interesting. But initially, he was at Arizona Western College, didn't have the grades, didn't play football in 2018, according to Dan Brugler's working at a grocery store, and also looking to potentially become a professional video game player, which is kind of awesome. But also, you do wonder, so is he in love with the game? It's a question that a lot of teams and scouts are going to ask. He ended up at 2019. We're not even halfway there. 2019, Fort Scott Community College in Kansas, played well. 2020, East Mississippi Community College, perhaps you've heard of it, Last Chance U, but didn't play because of the Rona. And then he ended up at Alabama for 2 seasons. 2021, he was a reserve. Actually started and starred in the national title game against Georgia, and was seen as, hey, one of Nick Saban's next great defensive backs. But then 2022, got suspended for undisclosed reasons, decided to transfer, ended up in Oregon 2023, first team all Pac-12, and was fantastic, right? He's really, really good to go last year. But that's the thing, where he has all these traits, and if he was a 21-year-old kid, I think that he would be a first-round pick. But the fact that he's 24, going to be 25, that's where the evaluation gets weird. So he's 6'4", $194, and like we said, was at Alabama 2 years as a reserve, went to Oregon, had a super senior season there for the Ducks in 2023, and played extremely well. 80.5 PFF grade, 3 interceptions, 7 passes broken up, 2 sacks, is prime as a blitzing corner as well. 41.6 quarterback rating when thrown at, which is good. Which is pretty good, because it's 39.6 if you just turf it. So that's not bad. Combine-wise, I mean, does have some tools for his size. A 4.5 40 for his size is pretty damn good. 11.1 broad jump, 36.5-inch vert. So he does have the skill set and the tools to be a press man corner in the National Football League. Scouting report, Lance Erline, NFL.com, comp Brandon Faison of the Raiders. Overview, extremely imposing outside cornerback with rare size and strength. Jackson's measurables are a big plus, but he started just 14 games during his college career, so the technique is inconsistent, can be hit or miss from press, but when he catches a receiver with his punch, it's trouble. A lack of anticipation and sticky hips cause him to get lost in transition points at times. Contested catches tilt heavily in his favor and will continue to do so as he improves with more coaching and experience. Jackson's size and physicality combined with his NFL caliber run support should make him an early backup with a chance to climb the ladder into a starting role if it proves he has the necessary speed. Did check the box in terms of speed with that 4.5 at the combine. Now, Jackson, like I said, uncanny size and strength. Like he is literally like Brandon Browner jacked up out there. He is extremely physical at the line of scrimmage, both in press coverage as well as in run support. A great punch at the line, but like Zerline says, it can be inconsistent. Contested catch, he is a dog. He really gets after it in jump ball situations. His tape against Rome Odunze twice is really good. Best suited for press man, so of course that would be intriguing for Flores and the Vikings. But the main drawback is age. So when it comes to age with prospects, evaluators are looking at physical peak, right? So physical peak is generally around 24, 25, and Jackson is already there. And the fact that he's already there physically, but isn't there in terms of knowledge of the game, in terms of instincts, in terms of technique, that's concerning. And I think that he's projected as a day 2 pick. I think that he may fall into the top of day 3, but also tight hips, but that's not uncommon for larger cornerbacks. Inconsistent technique, and that comes from being just intermittent with his coaching, even though he was with Saban for 1.5 seasons, but was good in Oregon. But, I mean, just hasn't had that tier 1 coaching since he came out of high school. And also the question, does he love football? Now, yes, you could say that was at Alabama, was at Oregon, but initially he just stepped away from the game, and that does lead to some questions. Plus, the suspension in Alabama, what was that about? It's undisclosed, so TBD there. But in terms of the Vikings cornerback room, so Murph going to hold down the slot. He did bring in Shaq Griffin. Hopefully he can rekindle some of his Seattle days. Blackman, I think, is going to be a stud. Evans and Booth, hopefully you can get a little bit of something there. And also you do have Joejuan Williams in terms of if you want the large physical presence on the outside. But Jackson, like I said, Jackson's super interesting because I don't think you draft him to be a starter, obviously. But if you want to roll the dice with him, back end of day 2, early day 3, that he can grow into his physical tools very quickly. Because like I said, if it takes a couple years for him to get consistent technique, I mean, that means he's going to be 26, 27. And already at that point, you're starting to question the age a little bit. But it does have rare physical tools and does have some upside as well. And if he can get some caliber quality coaching, as well as if he completely buys in, I think that he could be a steal in this draft. And it's exactly what Brian Flores is looking for in terms of that large outside press man corner. So, I mean, the Vikings, if they get in there, they want to roll the dice back in day 2, early day 3 on Jackson, I'd be here for it, man. So go ahead. But your thoughts are thoughts of Vikings meeting with Oregon cornerback Khyree Jackson. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.